The backyard was glowing with fairy lights. Laughter echoed. The camera was rolling, and our family stood around us, clapping and smiling. I held my wife's hand tightly, her other hand resting on her baby bump. This was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives. A giant black balloon floated between us, the one that held the secret. Pink or blue, boy or girl. Everyone was excited to find out. I gave a small smile to the crowd, then counted down. 3, 2, 1, pop. But no pink, no blue. Instead, tiny pieces of paper fluttered in the air, slowly falling like broken dreams. Confused murmurs filled the air. People bent down, picking them up. One guest gasped. Another dropped her drink. My hands were shaking when I picked up a piece. It was a photo. My wife, locked in someone else's arms. Laughing. Kissing. Time froze. My heart stopped. I looked at her. Her smile faded as she realized what was falling around her. Guilt filled her eyes. She didn't say a word. I dropped the photo and stepped back. The gender reveal had become a truth reveal. And just like that, my world fell apart. It all started like a fairy tale. I met Aisha 4 years ago at a friend's wedding. She walked in wearing a dark green dress, her hair flowing like something out of a movie. I couldn't take my eyes off her. She laughed softly, shyly, when I introduced myself. That laugh stayed in my head for days. Our connection was instant. We talked for hours that night about music, movies, childhood dreams, and everything in between. After that, we were inseparable. Late-night phone calls turned into early morning coffee dates. Within a year, I asked her to marry me. She said yes with tears in her eyes and a smile that lit up my whole world. We got married in a small but beautiful ceremony. Everyone said we were perfect together, and I believed them. Life felt complete with her. She was my peace after long, hard days. We'd cook together, binge-watch shows, go on road trips, and share silly jokes that only we understood. I never thought I'd be lucky enough to find love like that. Then came the news. She was pregnant. I still remember that moment. She walked out of the bathroom holding the test in her shaking hands. Her eyes were wide, scared, and excited. And when I hugged her, we both cried. I was going to be a father. She was going to be a mother. We were building a family. From that day on, I gave everything to her and our baby. Doctor appointments, midnight cravings, prenatal vitamins. I made sure she had everything she needed. I even started saving for a bigger apartment, painted the nursery, and read books on fatherhood. But it wasn't just the baby I was excited about. It was us. I thought we were stronger than ever. She'd smile and tell me how lucky she felt to have me. She'd hold my hand in public, post cute pictures of us with captions like, "My whole world," and "Daddy-to-be." I believed her every word. I started planning the gender reveal party in secret. Because I wanted to surprise her. I wanted it to be perfect. I hired a decorator, ordered custom cakes, and bought a balloon filled with pink or blue confetti. I wrote a little speech in my notes app. I even practiced it. She deserved it. She deserved the best. At least, that's what I thought. I didn't know, behind my back, behind all those smiles and kisses, she was hiding something. Something that would tear everything apart. But at the time, I was blind. Blind in love. Blind in trust. Blind in hope. I was a man building a dream. She was a woman hiding a lie. And the truth was about to explode. They say love makes you blind. And now I know they're right. At first, I didn't notice the cracks. Or maybe I just didn't want to. It started with small things. Aisha wasn't as affectionate anymore. She used to hug me the moment I walked through the door, kiss me on the cheek, ask about my day. But slowly, that warmth started to fade. I told myself it was a pregnancy, mood swings, hormones, tiredness. I read about it online and gave her space. But space became distance. She spent more time on her phone. She'd smile while texting, then quickly lock the screen when I came near. When I asked who it was, she'd say, "Just Zara," or "It's nothing important." I believed her. I wanted to believe her. Then there were the late nights. "I'm going to my mom's," she'd say. Or, "Zara wants to meet for coffee." At first, I didn't question it. She needed to relax, I thought. She was carrying our child. If she needed a break, she deserved it. But the nights grew longer. Sometimes she'd come home after midnight, saying they lost track of time. Once, she didn't come home at all. She said she stayed at her cousin's house because it was too late to drive. I nodded, but something inside me twisted. I told myself not to be insecure. I didn't want to be that husband, the paranoid one. I trusted her. We were building a life together. We had a baby on the way. But the signs kept coming. She started wearing perfume to quick grocery runs. Her makeup was flawless. Even on days she claimed she felt too tired to talk. She kept her phone on silent, face down, and would take calls in the bathroom with the door locked. One day, I walked in while she was in the kitchen, and she jumped like I scared her. Her phone slipped from her hand. I picked it up, but she grabbed it so fast it made my heart drop. I asked her if everything was okay. She laughed nervously. "You're being dramatic," she said. "Why are you acting so weird?" I forced a smile. "Just checking. You seem different." She kissed my cheek quickly. "I'm just tired. Stop overthinking." So I did. I buried the thoughts, buried the doubt. I told myself that love means trusting even when it's hard. But the truth? I was scared. Scared to dig deeper. Scared of what I might find. There was one night I'll never forget. I came home early from work, hoping to surprise her with her favorite dessert. When I walked in, I heard her on the phone, laughing, really laughing, the kind of laugh I hadn't heard in weeks. I paused in the hallway. Her voice was soft, flirty. "I miss you too. I wish I could see you more." Then silence. I stepped into the room. She froze when she saw me, her eyes wide, her smile gone. "Who were you talking to?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. She blinked. "Zara." But her voice shook when she said it. Something in me cracked that day. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just nodded, placed the dessert on the table, and went to our bedroom. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. Her back was turned to me. We didn't touch. We didn't speak. I knew something was wrong. And deep inside, I feared the answer. But I still held on. Because that's what you do when you love someone, right? You hold on, even when they've already let go. I didn't sleep for days after that night. My mind was a storm. Loud thoughts, silent screams. I kept asking myself the same questions. Was I imagining it? Was I overthinking? Was she really cheating on me? I didn't want to believe it. But deep down, I knew something had changed. Her heart wasn't mine anymore. Still, I didn't confront her. I wasn't ready. I needed proof. I needed the truth. Not just for me, but for everyone who believed in us, for the baby who didn't ask for this mess. So I started watching closely. I noticed how she'd smile at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking, how she'd leave the room to answer calls, how she changed her passcode twice. I didn't want to become someone who checked phones or doubted every move. But love makes you trust. Betrayal makes you check. One afternoon, while she was in the shower, her phone lit up, a message from a number saved as Ollie Work. But the preview said, "Last night was perfect. I can't stop thinking about you." My hands went cold. My breath caught in my chest. Work? I opened the chat. My heart shattered. Photos, messages, voice notes, dates, hotel names, private jokes. She wasn't just cheating. She was living a second life while carrying our child. I couldn't breathe. I felt like the ground had disappeared under my feet. But I didn't say anything. Not yet. I knew confronting her in private wouldn't change anything. She'd lie, cry, maybe even manipulate. I wanted the world to know what I knew. I wanted her to face the truth she'd hidden so well. And that's when I made the decision. The gender reveal party was already planned. The decorations, the guest list, the food, all of it ready. She thought it was a celebration. I would turn it into a revelation. Instead of filling the big black balloon with pink or blue confetti, I called the event organizer and told him to make a change. I gave him an envelope full of the printed photos I found on her phone, smiling, kissing, holding hands with him. He looked confused, even uncomfortable. "Are you sure?" he asked. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." I replied, "It wasn't about revenge. It was about truth, about finally letting the mask fall in front of everyone who thought we were the perfect couple." I kept quiet the entire week before the party. I held her hand, smiled in front of guests, took selfies. She had no idea. She kept pretending. I kept bleeding inside. On the night before the reveal, I stood in the nursery. The tiny baby clothes hung neatly. The crib was perfectly set. I touched the soft blue and pink blankets, and I whispered to myself, "I'm sorry, little one." I tried to protect this family. The next day, the stage was set. She wore a floral dress and smiled for the cameras. But she didn't know she was the one about to be exposed. The backyard was filled with laughter and soft music. Fairy lights sparkled in the trees, and white balloons danced in the wind. It looked like something out of a dream, but I was wide awake, and my heart was beating louder than the music. Everyone we loved was there. Family, friends, neighbors. Her parents stood near the front, holding their phones, ready to record the moment. My mom was there too, smiling proudly, unaware that her son's world was about to collapse in front of her. And there she was, Aisha, wearing a beautiful floral dress, her baby bump just starting to show. She looked radiant. She always did. But now I saw something else in her eyes. Not love, not excitement, just performance. She was playing the role of a happy wife. But I wasn't acting anymore. "Are you nervous?" she asked, holding my arm. I looked at her. She had no idea. "Not at all," I said with a cold smile. The photographer gave us the signal. Everyone gathered around the giant black balloon, which was tied to a small stand in the center of the garden. It was massive, filled with secrets. Just not the one she expected. Someone handed me the pen. "All right, ready?" the host called out. The crowd started chanting. 3, 2, 1, pop. And just like that, silence fell. No pink, no blue, no laughter. Only silence. Pieces of paper floated down from the balloon, twirling in the air like falling feathers. Everyone watched, confused. It took a moment for someone to reach down and pick one up. Then came the first gasp. A woman in the front, Aisha's aunt, covered her mouth. She dropped the photo in shock. More people picked them up. Their eyes widened. Murmurs spread. I heard someone say, "Is that her?" Another said, "No way, what is this?" Aisha looked around, laughing nervously. What is this? Where's the confetti?" I picked up a photo and held it up. It was her, with him, locked in a kiss, her hand on his chest, both of them smiling like nothing else mattered. Her eyes met mine. Color drained from her face. Her lips trembled. "What is this?" I didn't shout. I didn't curse. I just said the truth, loud enough for everyone to hear. "This is the real reveal, Aisha." She stepped forward, her voice shaking. This isn't real. You faked this." I dropped the photo. "Stop. Don't lie again. I saw everything. The texts, the photos, the hotel receipts. All of it." Gasps spread across the crowd. People started whispering, stepping back, giving us space. Her father looked at her. "Aisha, is this true?" Tears filled her eyes. She shook her head, trying to find the right lie. "I didn't mean for this to happen." And yet it did. I cut in over and over again. "While I was planning this day, while I was painting our baby's room, while I was loving you with everything I had, you were out there loving someone else." She dropped her head, the weight of the moment finally crashing down on her. My mother was in tears. Her mother just stood frozen, shocked. I looked around at the people who had come to celebrate new life, and instead witnessed the death of a relationship. "I didn't want this to be public," I said to the crowd. "But sometimes lies need light." Aisha stepped toward me, crying now. "Please, let's talk. Not here. Not like this. Not here." I repeated, "You cheated not just on me, but on this child's future. And now you want privacy." I turned to the guests. "Thank you all for coming. There's no party. Just truth. And that's all I needed today." And with that, I walked away. No shouting, no screaming, just silence, the kind of silence that follows a storm. Behind me, I heard people calling out to me. Some stayed behind to comfort her. I didn't care. I had carried this pain long enough. As I walked to the car, I looked up at the sky. Pink or blue didn't matter anymore. What mattered was honesty. And that balloon wasn't filled with confetti. It was filled with truth. Painful, heavy truth. But necessary. I sat in my car, closed my eyes, and finally, for the first time in weeks, I breathed, not because it didn't hurt, but because I was finally free. The night after the reveal was the hardest night of my life. I sat alone in the dark living room, the silence pressing down on me like a heavy weight. The house felt empty, even though just hours ago it was full of people, friends, family, laughter, and now only echoes of what had happened. My phone kept buzzing, but I didn't want to answer. Most of the messages were from her. Aisha, please talk to me. I'm so sorry. I love you. We can fix this. I stared at the screen, then turned it off. I didn't want to hear her voice. Not yet. I felt numb. My heart felt like it was trapped in a cage, beating so fast I thought it might burst, yet I was frozen in place. The betrayal didn't feel real. It was like watching a nightmare unfold, but I was wide awake. I remembered the photos falling from the balloon, how the world had stopped for a moment, the shock on everyone's faces, the silence that replaced the music. But the worst was the look in Aisha's eyes, a mix of guilt, fear, and sadness. She hadn't denied it anymore. That hurt more than anything. I paced the room, trying to make sense of everything. How could she do this? How could the woman I loved, the woman I trusted more than anyone, hide a secret like this while we were building a family, while I was dreaming of our future? It wasn't just about the cheating. It was about the lies, the broken promises, the stolen trust. And the baby, I kept thinking about our child innocent and unaware of the storm swirling around them. What kind of world would this baby grow up in? Would they ever understand what happened? Would they hate their mother? Would they hate me for what I was about to do? Sleep wouldn't come. The next morning, I left the house early before anyone else woke up. I needed air, space, some kind of escape from the chaos in my mind. I walked to the nearby park, the cool breeze hitting my face. I watched families playing, children running and laughing. It was both beautiful and painful. I wondered what my baby's laugh would sound like. Would they have Aisha's eyes? Her smile? Would they feel safe? A part of me wanted to forgive, to hold on to the hope that we could fix this. But another part screamed that trust was broken beyond repair. When I finally returned home, Aisha was sitting at the kitchen table, tears streaming down her face. Her hair was messy, and she looked like she hadn't slept. "I want to explain," she whispered. I shook my head. "There's nothing to explain anymore. You made your choice." Her sobs filled the room. "I never wanted to hurt you. I was scared. I was confused. It was a mistake." "Mistake?" I asked, voice shaking. "You didn't just make one mistake. You made 1,000. She looked down, unable to meet my eyes. We sat there in silence, the space between us growing wider. Days passed like this, cold, empty, full of unspoken words. Friends called to check on me. My mom cried when she heard. Everyone was waiting for me to say what would happen next. But I didn't know. I was torn between love and pain, hope and heartbreak. The baby was still growing inside her, unaware of the storm waiting outside. I realized I had a choice to make. Could I forgive and move forward? Could I trust again? Or was this the end of us? I didn't have the answers yet. But one thing was clear. Nothing would ever be the same again. The air in the room was thick with tension. The silence between us was louder than any argument could be. Finally, I broke it. "We need to talk," I said, my voice low but steady. Aisha looked up, her eyes red and swollen from crying. She nodded silently. We sat down at the kitchen table, the same table where we once dreamed about our future, where we planned names and nursery colors. Now, it felt like the battlefield of our broken dreams. "I want to know why," I said, looking directly at her. "Why did you do it? Why betray us, our family?" She swallowed hard. tears threatening to spill again. It wasn't like I wanted to hurt you. It just happened. I felt lost, alone. You were so busy planning everything. Sometimes I felt like I didn't matter. Her words cut deep, but I forced myself to listen. I was scared of being a mom, scared I wouldn't be good enough. And then Ollie, he made me feel seen, important, like I wasn't just a pregnancy or a wife, but a person. I shook my head, pain twisted my chest. So instead of talking to me, you hid everything? Lived a lie. She nodded, voice breaking. I was ashamed. I didn't want to lose you, but I was so confused. I thought I could stop, but it got out of control. I clenched my fists. And what about the baby? Did you think about what this would do to them? To me? Tears streamed down her face. Every day, I hate myself for it. For a long moment, we just sat there, the weight of everything pressing down on us. I don't know if I can forgive you. I admitted, not yet, maybe not ever. But I want to try, for the baby, if nothing else. She reached across the table, her hand trembling as it found mine. Thank you. That means everything. The road ahead would be long and painful. Trust shattered can't be fixed overnight. But in that moment, with her hand in mine, I felt a flicker of hope, a fragile beginning. Life after the reveal was a slow, painful journey. The silence between Aisha and me wasn't empty anymore. It was filled with cautious conversations, tears, and moments of honesty we hadn't shared before. The baby's due date was getting closer, and with it came a strange mix of fear and hope. I wasn't sure what the future held for us, whether we would be able to rebuild the broken pieces, or if this was the end of our story. But one thing was clear, the baby deserved love no matter what. We went to doctor appointment together, awkward at first, but gradually finding comfort in shared smiles and gentle touches. I painted the nursery again, this time with less excitement, but more intention, choosing soft colors that felt calm and safe. Aisha started opening up more, admitting her fears and mistakes. I began to understand that beneath the betrayal was a scared woman struggling with her own battles. We didn't rush forgiveness. It wasn't a sudden fix or a movie ending. It was a process, slow, fragile, sometimes painful. Friends and family watched quietly, offering support without judgment. Some doubted we could survive the storm. Others hoped for a miracle. For me, the miracle wasn't about forgetting or pretending. It was about honesty, acceptance, and learning to trust again, even if just a little. On the day our baby was born, I held Aisha's hand tightly in the hospital room. The pain and fear melted away when I saw that tiny face the first time. All the heartbreak, the lies, and the betrayal were still there, but so was a new beginning, a chance to be better. For the baby, for ourselves, and maybe one day for us. As I looked at our child, I whispered softly, "We'll protect you, no matter what." And in that moment, I realized that life isn't perfect, but love, even broken, can still grow.